Very pleased to welcome Mark Albini to the show. Well, he's written a lot of books, and one of the books we're going to talk about is this Rescue Ranch Christmas, A Rescue Ranch Christmas. And it's a children's book, and it's really, really fascinating. And it made me think about adventures and some of the other books that Mark has written, because he's pretty prolific for sure. Mark, thanks so much for coming on Author's Corner.
My pleasure.
I got to ask you this question first. How did you start writing these children's books? How did that happen?
It actually happened by accident. I was checking out at a grocery store. A friend of my wife was the cashier, and she was complaining about living that job as her main job, I guess, as a cashier. So I spoke to her. I said, "Well, you do something else, don't you?" And she said, "Yes, I'm an artist, but there's no artwork." I said, "Well, I have an idea." And this is where I opened my mouth. I said, "I have an idea. I'll write a children's book. You do the artwork, and we'll see if we can sell it." And she said, "Great, I'll be back in a week." And a week later, when she came back, I said, "I got great news. I wrote 4 books this week." And she went, "Well, I decided to get married and move into Colorado, and I can't do it." And I let them sit for about 3 years. And then I decided to make it a 5-book series, and I wrote book 5, and I opened up the door for 6, 7, and 8. And yesterday morning, I finished book 61.
Wow, book 61. So that chance meeting and that conversation, isn't it interesting? You didn't work together, but it's just that magic happened for you and kicked open the door. And obviously, if you've written that many books, you really, really enjoyed doing it, right?
Well, I didn't ever think I wanted to write anything, and it's now become the only thing I think about. I wake up in the morning, the first thing I used to do was to jump in the shower and get cleaned up and get ready to go to work. Now I go downstairs and put a pen in my hand and say, "Is there anything I need to write right this minute?" Because a lot of this information comes to me almost like it's channeling. I don't know if that's really what you call it, because it's kind of new for me, but I do pull out information out of the air. I see pictures, and then I talk to myself and put the words on the page, and then I put it on paper, and then sometimes I have to rewrite it to make it all fit right, but that's kind of how it's happening.
So here you are with this book, A Rescue Ranch Christmas. Tell us about this book, what inspired it, and tell us more about the adventure in it.
Okay, well, first of all, Clement Seymour, who wrote Night Before Christmas, is my favorite books as a kid. And I never really thought of ever writing in rhyme, because I'm not a writer or rapper or any of those things. But when I got to book 16, I realized, well, I'd just gone through a season. It was kind of, I was talking about the chill in the air in the story in book, I think, 15 and 16. And so I went ahead and decided to do the Christmas book. I wanted to name every character in the first 16 books in that one book. So I actually, by name, I think I touched down on all 30 names, which at that moment, that's how many I had. I think now I have over 100. But I wanted to mention everybody's name, because in book 1, when Jimmy the Giraffe arrives, he comes with his mom and dad, George and Gina, but their names never are mentioned, not once in that book or any other book up until that point. So I put them in the book. And the interesting thing about the Christmas book is the spirit of Christmas. While I'm telling the story of what took place on Christmas Eve, I am also showing you through the actions of the animals what Christmas spirit is all about. The animals, the farm animals and the rescued zoo animals, are singing Christmas carols at Henry's pigsty, and they go, Lucy the lion goes, a rescue, goes up into the woods and gets Grant the Grizzly, Billy the Bobcat, Sammy the Snake, and Scottie the Skunk, outsiders that come on the farm and cause trouble, and brings them down to Henry's pigsty to sing Christmas carols with all the other animals.
And it's so interesting, the names that you've chosen and the importance of Christmas. Like you mentioned, Christmas Carol was so important to you. And you start off, 'twas the eve before Christmas for Bobo the mouse, and his twins were all nestled asleep in the house. I love it. And do you find that the rhyming comes easy to you?
You know, for that book, it did. I wrote that book in about 3.5 hours. Some of these books, it takes me days, because I stream only a little bit of information or channel it and put it down, and I might not channel anything for 3 or 4 more days, and then I'll have a couple more lines, And then sometimes I can see the final little story. And by doing that, I fill in the pieces. And sometimes in doing that, when you're writing in rhyme and everything takes place on the same farm with the same lake and the same barn and the same crops and the same brook, your rhyming doubles up. Sometimes you have words that are going to repeat. And in my series, that happens once in a while, but I try to change the line itself. I don't think I have any lines that are exact duplicates, but almost everything happens back at Henry's pigsty. So a lot of times in the story, I say, well, we return to the sty. And of course, those words are used quite a bit, but for different reasons when they return. But I find that rhyming has gotten easier. And then I think back to what may have started it all without even realizing it. When I was young, my sisters and I, we love each other to death. I mean, we've had no arguments our whole life, which is very unusual. But when I think I was 7 or 8, I actually hit my older sister, Leslie. And that was the one and only time I think that's ever happened. But when I did it, my dad threatened me with, no Christmas gifts, nothing but coal, the stuff that you would say to a young kid. And so I ended up writing something to him being a teacher and understanding and appreciating, I guess, that kind of work. I wrote to him, on Christmas Day, beneath the tree, there should be lots of toys for me. And if there's not, then it's because there's no such thing as Santa Claus. And I put that down on paper. And that might have been the start, because that's about the tone of the rhyme that I use. And I never realized it until really 10 years ago when I said that to Ashley at the grocery store, that I even had any interest in writing. Before then, I loved real estate, which is what I do all day long. And I really did enjoy that. But now I would put real estate in the closet and just be a writer. And I have a lot to do because I've only got 6 books published. I've now written 61. I believe there's going to be 64. And I have an awful lot of illustrations to get done. And I'll be actively either learning how to do my own illustrations with Chad, or I'll be hunting an illustrator.
I love it. By the way, you can get A Rescue Ranch Christmas and all of Mark's books, the ones that he's talked about that have been published. You can get it on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Kindle, hardcover, paperback, so you can consume it any way you want it, which is the perfect thing. When kids read this book or the book is read to them, what do you hope they take away?
Well, hopefully just a good feeling of Christmas. I mean, it's a wonderful time of the year. I know that these past few years, through the different woke crowds, or, you can't say Merry Christmas. I guess you could say Happy Holidays. To me, that's a lot of nonsense. It's not even a part of my life. I'm going to say Merry Christmas for the rest of my life to whoever. And also with the spirit being shown to the children, rather than in the words. Yeah, there's a story there too. And if you like, I'll go ahead and just give you the quick version of the story on the air if you want me to. But for the most part, I think that it brings love to everyone's heart. And I think that that's what's needed in the world today. And hopefully it gets us all moving closer in the direction spiritually towards God, because I actually think that that's where we need to go, and that we have gone in the wrong direction for way too long.
Yeah, give us the quick version of the book.
All right. Well, like you said, and I'll mention a couple things. Bobo the Mouse, Bobo and Mimi have twins in book 13. So now when you get to book 17, it's 'twas the eve before Christmas for Bobo the Mouse, and his twins were all nestled asleep in the house. Mimi was baking some cookies with care as she sipped on some eggnog with Big Ben the Bear. Kelly the cow had dressed up in red to join Terry the turtle, who climbed out of his bed, but everyone headed to Henry's pigsty with hopes to see Santa ride his sleigh through the sky. Then Mitch the monkey pointed up in the air, as if off in the distance he saw something there. It was hard to make out as it moved very quick, but then we were sure it was good old St. Nick. He flew overhead, tossing toys and new games, and he whistled and bellowed and yelled out our names. Go Ricky, go Rocky, go Eddie and Shane. Get Marty, get Millie, and Greg the Great Dane to the end of the fence at the back of the sty. Go grab the gifts that I dropped off nearby. And in the next moment, he flew over the roof, and just like real magic, he disappeared in a poof. We felt very blessed to see Santa himself, but then I saw something that looked like an elf. He ran towards the sleigh where the twins fell asleep, and thank God Big Ben caught a whiff of that creep. He turned on the water and picked up the hose, blasting Scotty the Skunk from his head to his toes. Scotty ran off towards the edge of the lake, running right by the home of Sammy the Snake. But what we saw next, walking down off the hill, was truly a miracle and gave us a chill. 'Twas Lucy the Lion, a rescue, who was headed our way, with Billy and Grant, outsiders, on that heavenly day. They walked down the hill past the edge of the lake, and they were joined by Scotty and Sammy the Snake. We all held hands and started to sing, and I don't mind saying it was a beautiful thing. So from all of us at the Rescue Ranch, we extend to you an olive branch. Merry Christmas.
Oh, that's beautiful. Especially the way you recited it. It's wonderful. It's a terrific book to get for kids. I think adults can even find meaning in it for sure. And like I said, you can get it for a song really on Amazon or Barnes and Noble. Mark Albini, thanks so much.
Can I add one thing for you?
Sure.
The main theme of the Rescue Ranch book series is friendship, honor, teamwork, the golden rule. These are the things that are the most important to me, and I tell them through the eyes of my animals, because as a kid I didn't like to listen to my parents. But when the lessons, the morals are taught through the eyes of animals, and you identify with that animal, you're likely to absorb that lesson and make it a part of your life. So that's why they're written the way they're written.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Mark.
My pleasure.
Visit us at www.greatwritersmedia.com. Email us at info@greatwritersmedia.com or call us at +1 877 556 0487.